like to call the regular
There are
open
few
meeting of the
donations
United
at this
Laguna
point.
Woods Mutual Board of Directors of California Nonprofit Mutual Benefit Corporation. It's Tuesday, May 12th. It's a little after 9:30, and we'll call to order. We have a quorum. We're missing one person, and he said he's on his way. I'd like to acknowledge the media. Thank heavens for the television station that's keeping us on board and open to meetings. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda. This is Manny.
Manny approved the agenda. Cash gave a second. And the agenda is approved. Is there any discussion? I will then take it by acclamation. Okay, so we're on to the report. I'd like to discuss an issue which I think most of our residents are thinking about, namely what will happen when the current shelter-in-place orders are relaxed for us. We see what's happening in our supermarkets, restaurants, and other essential service as they try to keep the virus propagation numbers down. So what will change in how Laguna Woods operates? The governor has put forth a number of safety requirements. The buildings need to be prepared for extra cleaning, safe distancing, working safety, staff. The workforce needs to be prepared to come back to work. We need to prepare protocols for the building reception, elevators, visitor policies, and flow patterns. We need to create social distancing plan. We need to be able to stay informed about our local situation as well as Orange County and the state. This undoubtedly will require a significant reduction in our room occupancy numbers, which will affect practically all our clubs, and perhaps elimination or modification of programs and facilities that can't result in safe distancing, such as some of our sports activities and our gym. Chlorinated pools should be fine, but jacuzzis and multiple occupancy bathrooms will become an issue. Are there positive improvements that we can make that will make up for these losses? What about outdoor gyms, more outdoor cover meeting areas, and some of the more beautiful spots around the village? Perhaps we can take this opportunity to improve our lives here. More specifically, for our board, we need to contemplate how to suggest ways in which this may be done efficiently and economically for the residents of our village. Do we need to hire extra staff to patrol hallways and rooms to enforce social distancing and mask wearing? Are there reasonable design choices that will limit and require extra diligence? And how will we deal with those who have not cooperated with our requirements for safe encounters? So there are some specific issues that the board may want to start contemplating now while we still have time, at least a few weeks. And we want to encourage all our residents, if they have some creative suggestions, to please email us at information@vmsinc.org. INFORMATION @vmsinc.org. This is a large job, but if we have all residents and boards involved participating, we should be able to manage and collate the suggestions and bring the promising suggestions to the attention of our representatives on the United Third, GRF, and VMS boards. And for currently relevant issues, how should the board meetings be conducted so that all residents have an opportunity to listen and contribute? I know everybody is ready to get out and become active, but we need to do this safe and responsible way. Thank you. Moving on, the open forum. Go ahead, Becky.
Good morning, President Margolis and esteemed members of the board. We have 3 member comments today. The first one is from J.B. Holland Jr. at 2012D as in David. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, having reviewed the summary financial statements for United Laguna Woods Mutual As of December 31st, 2019, I am struck by the net operating loss of over $3 million on the heels of over $1 million loss the year before and the loss in members' equity. It appears the main culprits are expenses, especially repairs and maintenance and GRF shared operating expenses. My question is, what are you doing to staunch this financial bleeding and address the lack of responsible management? Operating losses are untenable. If at all possible, could you please raise the question at the board meeting next Tuesday, the 12th? I will be reviewing online. Thank you very much for your attention to my question. Sincerely, J.B. Holland, Jr. Next comment, Marianne Rosenstock, 488 D as in David. I would like to request an existing dirt path in the common area be paved. It is a small path about the length of 1 unit. The path is between building 287 and the parking lot. This path gives people access to the serpentine walk without having to use the stairs. The path has been used by people bringing in groceries from the carport. It gives direct access to the laundry room and is utilized by people in wheelchairs and furniture movers, etc. Most importantly, in the 3.5 years I've been living here, it has been used by the EMTs in 3 occasions to bring in stretchers. The reason for my request is Wednesday, April 15th, this path has been planted with bushes now blocking off any use. It is unfortunate since it has been so valuable to everyone in our area, as well as giving the people of this community access to Serpentine Walk without stairs, which is a blessing in a senior community. I understand this will not be addressed quickly, but I hope at some point it will be addressed. Thank you, Marianne Rosenstock. Third comment, Vicki Nardon, 363 P as in Paul. After picking up today's paper and reading about yet another stolen bike, I was prompted to write. I have lived here almost 5 years and love it. However, the lack of garage doors continues to leave our possessions at risk. Yesterday, I retrieved my locked bicycle from my carport to find the seat was stolen. 3 years ago, my new electric bike was also stolen. Enough already. I implore everyone to start campaigning for garage finishing for our carports. The only way to guarantee safe and secure storage, I implore GRF to come up with financial strategies and a loan program that would allow interested residents to make this happen. That is all.
Thank you. I, by accident, forgot to vote on the approval of the minutes, and I'm sorry to thank for everybody that reminded me. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the April 14th meeting?
I move that we approve the minutes.
I second.
Okay, Carl and Cash, is there any discussion or any corrections?
Yes. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Reza.
There is a typo here on April 14 meeting. At the end, let me just give me a few seconds.
April 14th.
At the end of the meeting on April 14, it stated that I suggested something, but it's not complete.
Okay, you suggested that the dry rot be done on the first visit to the department, and we will get that corrected. Thank you.
But what's written is not.
Complete. Okay. All righty. Brian?
I just wanted to respond to the question about the losses, and that we are working with Betty Parker to find a resolution on that.
All right. I'm going to ask Jeff to respond to the three people that spoke, if he has anything he wants to respond.
Just to indicate to the board that we'll, the pathway will review with our staff. I'm not on the specifics with regards to the financing. I'll have to get more details on the number that he specifically mentioned with regards to that number, and then we will get back and make a direct reply to that individual.
Okay. And about the bikes, would you like to comment, or Siobhan, would you like to comment on what Carlos is doing?
It, just as we indicated before, working with Carlos, our security director, Mr. Rojas, is looking at additional patrols and shifts, and also looking at a coordination with the Orange County Sheriff, because we have seen some additional increases with regards to some of the carport thefts and that type of activity. We will be getting back to the individual and telling her what we're doing in that sense. With regards to the issue of enclosing carports, I'm not aware of that, other than this is the first time I've heard about it. So we can certainly, if the board wanted us to look into it, I'm sure that would be a very expensive and costly activity, but we can certainly look at it if the board wanted to direct us to do that.
Okay, Cass is next. Would you put a question mark in, Carl?
About stolen bikes and things like that, maybe we should look at putting cameras. We should have, pretty good feel on what is happening on the stealing things, because I had a couple of things stolen from my garage as well. And they weren't very expensive, but still like $45 worth. And they were pretty heavy and large to put inside the cabinet. So, thanks.
Okay, Carl, next.
I'd like to respond to that lady regarding the garage doors and the and the bikes. With regard to cameras, we've looked into cameras, and because of the fact that our Wi-Fi doesn't extend throughout the community, it'd be very difficult to have cameras. We've had cameras based on Siobhan's input, whereby we've had the actual SD cards in the cameras, and then we removed the SD cards, and it's not very efficient to try to do it that way. It would be better if we had Wi-Fi. I guess Chuck is looking into possibility of having Wi-Fi throughout the community, but that's still in the very early stages. With regard to garage doors would be nice. However, in order to have a garage door that actually makes sense, you would have to enclose your carport. Each person would have to put walls on each side of the carport in order for it to work, and then have a garage door in front. That's a major expenditure to basically enclose the carport and then put a garage in there. That's something that, we could look into that as each individual would like to do that as an added expense to them, or it's an architectural addition, but at this particular point in time, that expenditure would be extremely costly.
Anthony, you're next.
I'd like to ask the CEO about where we are with testing.
If I may, back to the board and to Anthony, we have put a communication into Orange County Health. Actually, one of the things I was going to report in my note is the fact that in the last couple of days, there has been very little testing in Orange County, unfortunately. And I think that has a direct impact on how fast we're going to be able to move into the next phase relative to the state and moving forward to reopening up. Is if we don't have the stats and don't have the information, it's making it very problematic.
We'll hold that until we get the CEO report. Andre?
Yes, I just want to know about the garage door. Can we just do a cost analysis and see how much it's going to cost? Maybe hopefully it's not taking that much. Just get a vendor that doesn't take that much money from us, but it will give some kind of idea how much it will cost for the per member per month, maybe for 3 years, 5 years. Just my recommendation.
Okay, thank you. All right. Any more comments? We'll go to Neda, who can give us the feedback from last month.
Good morning, everybody. It's public meeting updated from April 14, 2020 board meeting. 4 residents commented in open meeting. Resident 3642. The question is, please have VMS employees wear face masks when working on United Mutual property. Protecting people who work in village also protects the people who live in the village. Response. All essential VMS employees working on site are required to wear a face mask and gloves, including employees in the field and those in offices. In addition to personal protective equipment, PPE, required prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, each work group has further requirements. For example, employees entering the residence to perform essential maintenance are required to wear half mask respirators or N95 face masks, safety glasses, latex or nitrile gloves, Tyvek suits, and safety shoes. Employees in this category must always maintain 6 feet distance per center for disease control and prevention, physical distancing guidelines, and wash or sanitize hands before donning PPE and immediately after removing PPE. VMS was proactive in requiring the use of PPE in advance of directives from the state of California or the Orange County Healthcare Agency. Resident 560B. Upstairs occupants have been engaged in do-it-yourself remodeling projects for more than 2 months, hammering, drilling, scraping from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., daily, nights, and weekends. Resident 560 has called security. Activity is impairing her quality of life and health and is disrupting her ability to answer the phone and work as real estate professional. This violation of nuisance guidelines. Response. Inspection of units was complete after concern received. No sign of any unauthorized work observed. Flooring was installed a while ago. Kitchen counters and bathroom was original neutral upgraded. The only other work performed recently was by BMS staff replacing a faulty garbage disposal. Resident 560 was asked to contact security if there are future matter documentation purpose on the incident report. There has been no recent incident reported to the security. Resident 935B. Residents are selling vacant units due to COVID-19 regulation. Open house are prohibited. Resident 935 requested temporary waiver of monthly HLAC on units for sale when the member have moved to a new unit within the village and selling his or her prior unit. Shouldn't have to pay 2 association fees with scant benefits. Response. In March 25th, 2020, letter to the community, CEO Parker addressed the question of assessment and explained the cost of maintaining all village facilities continue and in fact may likely increase because of increased cost of continuously disinfecting and the cleaning of high traffic areas. Furthermore, most costs to maintaining the village are fixed, regardless of whether the facility or amenities are closed, including, among other things, insurance and payroll. There will be no decrease or proration of assessment as a result of this emergency. We have been advised that the state rules and case law support this position. Resident 153A. In light of current conditions, the 2020 business plan should be revised to reallocate funding from one operating division to another. For example, recreation may not be holding Senior Olympics, and maintenance and construction will need extra funding for cleaning and sanitizing facilities. Response. Review of 2020 business plan will be continued. On April 14, the board approved the reallocation of funds for custodial service and the mulch program, for example. Mutual is looking at financial effects of virus this month. Mutual has transferred funds from some operating areas to clean laundry rooms and touch points. We will be analyzing budgets on May 27 when CFO brings us a view of current state. Boards and management are deciding what it will take to open up again and what new normal may be. Thank you.
Okay. We will. All right. Dorothy, we're ready for your presentation.
Great. Thank you, Madam President. Greetings to my fellow directors and a special warm welcome to our residents viewing from home. Glad you're home. Glad you're safe. This morning, what we're going to do is just spend a few minutes updating the village on our key performance indicators, which we call KPIs. And for those of you, especially at home, that maybe haven't heard that terminology before, what we have done is VMS has strategic objectives for 2020 that have been approved by all the boards. To ensure VMS delivers those objectives, KPIs are created to measure progress at every single month. This is a best practice that occurs in all industries. So this morning, I have a report for you on the results for the first quarter, the first 3 months of the year, January through March. One of the KPIs is really looking for process improvement and looking for every way that we can use that to save money. We've reported in the past, we recently, with the landscape department, purchased a tub grinder. And the tub grinder is used to grind all of our trees, our leftovers, all of our branches. We now have so much mulch as a result of this. The savings is incredible. And so we're now covering our flower pads and all of the different areas with this mulch. A good news story of this is that there was so much work to do. We were able to take 2 of the maintenance employees who were furloughed and reassign them to the landscape department so we could work and lay our new mulch. So that had a happy ending on top of the expense savings. Our second area of KPIs was to the number of calls to resident services. What we look for is the reduction of those calls to resident services. So in year to date, believe it or not, in just 3 months, we've had 106,000 calls to resident services. But the good news is that's a 13% reduction from 2019. So we're headed in the right direction. And we had a little bump because of COVID, but we're tracking correctly in terms of reducing the number of calls to resident services. Our third KPI was to have a 10% improvement in service areas with the service calls to resident services. So we measure completed service orders. And what we've had is that 95% of the tickets were closed in 30 days or less through March of 2020. My friends, there were 34,000 service orders in that period of time, and 95% of those were completed in less than 30 days. The ones that remain open and beyond our standard are those types of projects that require more time to complete, such as pest control, paving, moisture intrusion. So we monitor those. We report on those. But generally speaking, we actively research those that don't achieve our standard. But specifically, what we have found is those are there for a longer period of time. Lastly, we do a customer service survey. And any of you residents there that have opened a ticket with us and we close, we do random surveys to reach out to you to have you evaluate the quality of the VMS team, because that's the utmost important to us. So our goal is that we hope that at least we get a rating of 80% or more. That's 5 stars. Well, the good news is we are at the 86 to 92% of all of our surveys for the month of March. And this includes things such as employee effectiveness, employee courtesy, time to respond, and meeting expectations. So these all receive 5 stars, and they range from 86% to 92%. So we welcome your feedback when you open a service ticket. We respond to this, and we love the comments, and we read them with a lot of passion and interest and give them feedback to our team. So that's all I have, Madam President. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your excellent report. We look forward to hearing from you on more KPIs. Okay, Jeff, you're up next with the CEO report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To the board, good morning. I have 3 things. Wanted to give you a quick update. Obviously, as of yesterday, we opened the golf course, and our operations were going rather well with regards to that and the reservation system that we set up. Our next opening for outdoor activities is tennis on next Monday, and we will be evaluating as of when it comes out at noontime the specifics with regards to Governor Newsom's Phase 2 activities that he is allowing opening in coordination with the counties, and that will be, so we'll be looking for Orange County Health and the Governor's Office with regards to other activities that we can in the near future begin our next phase in opening up. And as Sue mentioned in her opening comments, staff has been working on a phasing reopening of all of our activities here. And so we will be working in a process where we can get that information out, receive input, as Sue indicated, from our residents as how fast and what they would like to see open, given the obviously the state rules with regards to stay at home and when those might be relaxed and when larger groups can get together, which is probably out a little bit. But immediately, we're certainly looking at our outdoor activities that we can get opened up and facilitate. So we're pleased to have golf open and tennis next week, and we'll keep moving forward and provide as much information as we can and get the input back from our residents and come up with a more comprehensive phasing plan that we can show everybody and have everybody understand. With regards to the question that was raised earlier, again, we do have a not only a phone call, but an email into Orange County Health, trying to get an understanding of their testing operations. As you probably have seen in LA County and Orange County and LA City, they've talked about making tests available for everybody. Orange County hasn't gone that far yet. And in fact, at this point in time, there's only been 52 or 53,000 tests that have occurred in Orange County. So a very small percentage of our residents here in the county. Unfortunately, the number of tests from the last reported date was only 196. They had been averaging almost 2,000 tests a day, and I think it's just the fact that how their reporting comes over the weekend. The last date that they had posted was 196 cases. Probably more important than just the test and then the number of individual cases that have been reported, which is now over 3,500, and it has fluctuated around, gone up and down, but is starting to stabilize, is the issue of hospitalization. That is one of the key factors for both the Orange County Health and the state of California with regards to making sure that as we become more active and we do more activities and we get out a little bit, that if we see a spike in the coronavirus reporting again, that it doesn't overwhelm our hospital program. We did have an uptick in hospitalizations to 196. Again, have been averaging probably around 180. But that, again, those kind of fluctuate up and down, and what they're really looking for is kind of a down curve on the hospitalization so that they can make sure that they have plenty of ICU beds and plenty of hospital beds to handle. The great news, with all of that being said, is that Laguna Woods, the community as it's recorded, is still at only 8 cases being reported to the county at this point in time, and that includes all of the community of Laguna Woods, not just the village. So again, and as I indicated, because of the size of the city of Laguna Woods, anything that's being reported is for the city itself, and population of using the 2010 census was about 17,000. And so again, the number of 8 could reflect all throughout the community, although we're about 95% of that population base. So great news, great participation by our residents to stay at home and not spread the virus around or not have it spread into the village. We've done a great job, and as we move forward with our phases of our activities and moving forward with opening up, I think that is one of the key factors, is that we want to make sure that we stay safe, and we are a vulnerable community with regards to the age designation. And so we wanted to make sure that we're not putting ourselves in harm's way by opening up our facilities. So we will have a lot of rules and regulations, such as we did with golf and tennis. And we hope that we can have participation, activity, and be safe at the same time. And that's all I have to report. I know Siobhan has a couple of things.
Thank you, Jeff. Honorable President, members of the board, I have a few updates for you this morning and for our community. First of all, virtual recreation resources are available online. This comprehensive online guide offers resources for such pursuits as arts and crafts, to virtual tours, and everything in between. To access this guide, visit lagunawoodsvillage.com, click on amenities, then recreation, and scroll down to virtual recreation resources. Additionally, our resident services is offering registration of new vehicles and issuing RFID tags by coming to you. This new mobile service is available by following 3 simple steps. Take a picture of your registration and email it to community.access@vmsinc.org. A customer service rep will then call you and set an appointment date and time. Security staff will go to your vehicle and apply the registration decal and/or the RFID sticker, and there is no face-to-face contact, so we're abiding by the rules that we must follow. There is also broadband maintenance scheduled for midnight on Wednesday, May 13th. This maintenance will replace the village's 20-year-old cable plant emergency battery backup and switching system. Community impact includes a television outage from midnight Wednesday, May 13th to approximately 2 a.m. on Thursday, May 14th. The cutover should only take approximately 20 minutes, but this 2-hour block allows for contingencies if needed. There will be no impact to the internet services as a result of this maintenance. And lastly, just want to remind everyone to please participate in the 2020 census. Our current citywide response rate is 71.2%, which is almost 20% higher than the statewide average. But again, we want to keep those responses coming in, please. And just a reminder that help is available from the City of Laguna Woods, and residents may call 949-639-0500 if they need help with the census. Thank you.
Thank you. Juanita, would you go ahead about the library, please?
I just wanted to mention to our residents out there that we have what we call our little library set up on the patio at our front door, which has books, puzzles, DVDs that people can take home and then bring back. And our drop box is available to return anything. There are no fines at this time. But my big concern is people who do not respect the rest of our residents. Our newspapers are taken every day. They come in, we pay for the subscription, they're out there, and there are people that come and just help themselves and take them away rather than allow other people to use them. And the same way with some of the other things that are in our cabinet, you don't need a dozen puzzles. Take what you need, bring back what you use, and get another one. When you stock up and hoard puzzles, paperbacks, DVDs, it means other people can't use it. Also, our reservation system is online. If you go online to the library, you can reserve books and DVDs. And 3 days a week from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you can come and pick up those that are reserved, and you've gotten a notice saying that reserve is in. The supervisors are manning the library every day to check back the books that are in the library, sanitize them, wipe them off, make sure that they are cleaned and aired before we put them back out for circulation. But we really ask your help and respect the rest of the community. Take only what you need and leave our newspapers alone.
Thank you. Reza, you had a comment?
I've been asked, this question is to Jeff, what about table tennis? Opening table tennis.
Could you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, you mentioned about golf and tennis. I've been asked by residents about table tennis. Is there any plan?
At this point in time, it is not open, but we will be reviewing, again, it's kind of the congregation of people. That is the issue, and how we would augment that with regards to potentially a reservation system like we're doing with tennis and what we'll probably be doing with pickleball and some other activities. If we can organize that and make the access available, then we would certainly move towards opening that up too.
Thank you.
Okay, Cash, I asked you, go ahead.
Thank you. So, thank you, Chair. Basically, I want to say a few things. One, Siobhan and Jeff have done excellent job. Maybe we can welcome that in getting more sales. I want to thank Dorothy for a great report and the great work VMS is doing in these tough times. I would like to suggest Andre to make some suggestions that are not going to be too expensive and not really necessary. It's obvious what it would take to put 6,900 or whatever manners we have, putting doors on each one of those. Also, Jeff, I'm working on something to do with HEPA type filters. The HEPA filters are very good in cleaning not only dust but also.
Cash, can you hold this to director's comments, please? This is not applicable.
No, are all the comments about what they had said, and I want to suggest something, but I will hold, no problem.
Thank you. All right, we're moving on down to the consent calendar. Can I have a motion to accept the consent calendar?
So moved.
Okay, Andre, and second by Nada. Is there any discussion? Manuel?
No, I'm just here to vote no. I haven't been able to access the files to see if anything's been updated, so if it has, I'm not aware of it.
Okay. I will take a vote now. Cash?
Yes.
Elsie? Elsie? You turn your microphone on. I can't hear you.
You still can't hear me?
I hear you now.
Okay. Oh, great. Yes.
Netta?
Yes.
And, okay. Reza?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Anthony?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Juanita?
Yes.
Andre?
Yes.
Sue, yes. There was a 1 no vote, Juanita. Okay.
Excuse me, who was the no vote?
Manuel.
Thank you.
All right, we're going now on to the new business. We have no unfinished business. Juanita, would you give us the synopsis of the membership and election voting policy, please?
Of course. All right. Effective January 1st, we had a number of things that were mandated by the state that were in conflict with our election rules, and we had to change them to match those because they take precedence over ours. And those included things like who can vote. There are no restrictions now except that you have to be current. You can't have a delinquent account. Who can vote was also changed a little bit, that general power of attorneys, successor trustees, those kinds of things can vote. The inspector of election has some new rules and regulations that they have to follow as to time limit when things need to go out. And it's very close time. We're getting up to that. And between 30, 60 days, 90 days, whatever it is that we have to have the record vote regular, who can vote, give them a chance to protest, get that to the inspector of elections, him get the information out, that kind of thing. So we have to file all of those requirements. And they did change the eligibility. We had 10 months. You had to be a resident of the village, and the state law now says you have to be a resident 1 year. So those are the main changes. And so the policy, and it is up on the website, you can read through the whole thing, but I move that we accept the changes to the membership, election, and voting policy.
I have a comment.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it. Turn on your microphone, Sue.
Thank you. Cass, go ahead with your comment.
If you look at page 5 of 20 of item 12A, the two I's conflicts with the staff recommendation report, third, last paragraph, saying that even if they have delinquent accounts, and this one says shall not be on books of any delinquencies. So I think we need to revise this. Am I making it clear, Shubham? I think.
No, not really. Would you please state?
If you look at page 5 of 20.
Yes.
The last paragraph says that qualified members shall not be shown on books of accounts of the corporation to be more than 30-day delinquent. And if you look at page 1 of 12.
In order to become a director, you cannot be delinquent. In order to vote, you can be delinquent. That's the difference between these things. If you want to be a director, you cannot be delinquent. If you want to vote, you can be delinquent. And that's why there's a difference here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we will take a roll call vote for this if there's no more discussion. Okay, Cash?
Yes.
Elsie?
Yes.
Netta?
Yes.
Manuel?
Can we wait?
Can we wait?
No, never mind.
Manuel?
Yes.
Reza?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Anthony?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Anita?
Yes.
Andre?
Yes. And I would also like to thank everybody.
Unanimously.
Yeah, I would like to thank everybody. If we delay this one more month, we may have to end up with like a third that we have to delay the election. And so thank you very much.
We will be voting on delaying the election because we're very close in timing. So we will be voting in June to delay the election. It's not on our agenda today. Okay, next, Andre, would you give us the appeal? The synopsis of the appeal, Andre? Andre?
Whoops, sorry.
Synopsis of the appeal.
On October 28, 2013, United approved an appeal policy for alteration requests, common area improvement requests, and other corporate business matters. The appeal policy allows a member to appeal a board decision in an open meeting within 30 days and the final appeal within 1 year. In addition, part of the process requires the appropriate committee review the information again and submit their recommendations to the board for final decision. Civil Code Section 4765 provides that decisions made by the board or of a committee having the same composition as the board relating to a member's architectural and or landscape requests that occur in an open session board meeting in compliance with the requirements of Civil Code 4900, the Open Meeting Act, may be final without the right of an member to appeal said decision. Civil Code Section 4355B allows for the issuance of a document that repeats existing law or the governing document without 28 days posting to the membership. The current appeal policy does not align with Civil Code 4765, allowing for board decisions to be final. The proposed amendment would streamline the process and provide guidelines for a member if they meet the criteria for an appeal. In addition, the proposed amendment has been expanded to include landscape requests, lease authorization permits, and care provider permits. Okay, that's the committee and the management decisions will continue to be appealable until the board makes a final decision in either open or closed session meetings. That's my statement on this appeal policy. Thank you.
You so move?
Yes, I so move.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, thank you, Cash. Okay, I will take a vote. Cash?
Excuse me, sir. Do we have a chance for discussion?
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
This is Emmanuel.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, what troubles me about this resolution is that even though it's written to conform with Civil Code Section 4765, that states that it may be final. It doesn't say it will be final. And the prior resolutions were very clear on that. I mean, you had 30 days within the board's decision to, and then you had a year following that. I think this needs to be rewritten because even Civil Code Section 4765, if you have a person, for instance, that spent several $1,000s on architectural plans, do a remodel, and he gets turned down, and he takes a chance on it going to the board, hoping the board will approve it. It gets turned down there. Even in the front right here, it says that the proposed amendment will streamline the process and provide guidelines for a member if they meet the criteria for an appeal. So you haven't addressed that. So somewhere in here, the language needs to be changed so it says that the decision of the board may be final unless the board allows the member to go through an appeal process. So if you go with this right now, I'm going to vote against it because, like I said, I don't think it's complete. And it's not intended to be a final. Even like I said, Civil Code 4765 says may be final, not will be final. Okay? Thank you.
Do you want to amend it so we can go forward, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, I'd like to amend it to say something that the member or whoever it is does have, the right to appeal, so long as they do it within the conformance of whether the requirements are, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Just so it's not final.
Okay. Is there a second to the amendment?
Sue, can we have more time on this subject instead of voting? We talk about it.
In the meeting, you were there. We can have all the time in the world, but you need to do.
Let me make the motion to send it back to committee for the revisions that I just mentioned. Do we have a second on that?
Well, we can't change the motion. There's a motion on the floor. We can either make an amendment or we can deny it.
Okay. Let me amend my motion to send it back to committee with those revisions.
Amendment. Is that okay, Anthony, to make that amendment?
Well, I think we should vote on the amendment, and then a director can make a motion to refer it back to committee.
I agree.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Okay. Well, is there any other discussion?
Yeah, did we have a second on that amendment?
I will second it.
Okay.
I have something, Sue.
Go ahead. Andre's next.
Okay. If you look at the information here, it says the appeal policy allows a member to appeal a board decision in an open meeting within 30 days and the final appeal within 1 year. So that already satisfies your amendment, right?
Okay. Elsie?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I can't find it this second, but I found it before the meeting when I was reviewing this again. And as I understand it, this new policy, sometimes the lead-up's a little vague, but the actual policy allows for an appeal if there's new information to be presented.
That is correct.
So I was just addressing other people saying that it sounded like they didn't think there was any appeal, and there was an appeal. I think the old version just said they could appeal under any circumstances and take it on, to different levels. And this one says only under to comply with the state. That it's only, actually, I think we kind of added the if they have new information, which is consistent with other laws. That's all.
Okay, Siobhan, please.
Thank you. Frances has contacted me, and she indicates that Director Armendariz' concerns are addressed on page 5 of 7 in Section C. And that would be Section C at the top half of the page.
The reason we did this was the $25 fine that went through 3 appeals with no new information, and we had a staff for everything. So Manuel, go ahead.
The only problem I'm having is that it doesn't state that in the resolution, and the previous resolutions had it in there. That's all I'm saying, and I think it should be in the resolution.
Okay. Well, all right. We're going to go ahead and take a vote now if there's no more discussion. All right. Cash.
I agree with what Manuel is saying. Maybe we should. So I will vote yes.
We are voting on the amendment.
The amendment.
Yes.
No, the amendment isn't. He withdrew his amendment. It is on page 5. It's enclosed in the resolution.
Yeah, it's there.
It's there.
Okay, I vote yes.
Can you tell me what it is in the resolution, please? What does it say there?
I think it talks about attached.
Siobhan, can you give the data again, please?
Yes, it's on page 5 of 7 in Section C. This is at the top half of the page. It's in the policy.
I understand that, but it's not in the resolution.
Annie's right. It's not spelled out in the resolution, but it does refer to statutes.
Okay. We will. So do you want to amend the resolution to include that statement in the resolution?
Yes.
Okay. We will vote on that amendment to include the statement in the resolution.
I second his proposal.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. Is there any more discussion on that? Can I do it by acclamation? Is there anybody that wants to vote no? Raise your hand or yell. Okay. So now we will vote on the whole thing. Cash.
Yes.
Elsie.
Yes.
Netta.
Yes.
Manuel.
Yes.
Reza.
I abstain.
Brian.
Yes.
Anthony.
Yes.
Carl.
Yes.
Juanita.
Yes.
Andre.
Yes.
Sue. Yes. We have one person abstained. Anthony abstained. Oh no, Reza abstained. Excuse me. And the vote is passed. We will now move on to the reports, committee reports. All right. Brian, you're on with the financial report.
Thank you. Slide 1, and I just want to make 2 notes. One, this is preliminary financial report as of March 31. And this data here on the first 2-3 slides, all of it is actually, is in the, all the directors have it. This is really a summarization of the table on page 7 of the United Financial Package. And it shows more detail in that. So the first one is income statement in thousands of dollars, and we had a net revenue of almost $1 million. I think that was better than expected. Operating only income statement, we had an operating surplus of $350,000, and this excludes the unrealized gains from the investments and excludes depreciation. The third slide is the income statement, and it compares the actual against the budget. And as you can see there, we were budgeted to have an expense at this point in time, but we have a net revenue. Moving down to the next slide is the variances, and outside services, we were favorable. Materials and supplies were favorable. Employee compensation, unrealized loss and gains on AFS. As expected, insurance was unfavorable. And some of this, keep in mind that this is March, so we didn't have the full impact of the COVID, but also some of these are supposed to be spent throughout the year. Moving on to the pie chart, total non-assessment revenues are broken out as shown, and the total expenses are shown on the next slide, with broken out with sewer, water, trash, electricity, and telephone. And there was an uptick in water in March, which I guess maybe people were out planting flowers and other things like that. And taking out property and sales tax on the next slide pie chart is the expenses. And so moving down into the non-operating fund balances with contingency and reserve, beginning balance, contributions, expenditures, and current balances. And what you might have noticed is that our contingency has decreased, and that's principally because we've seen an increase in moisture intrusion events, which we've requested more data on from VMS. Fund balances, moving on to the next one, is the average line there is at about $21 million. And this is expected. This was planned. People shouldn't overly react to this one. And it's expected to increase in the future. Resale history is shown here. And again, most of this is probably not reflecting the impact of the COVID. Leading out into April, there was a slight variation, decrease in units sold through April of 2020. And again, but the trend carries forward as far as average resale price is slightly down from 2019. And I just want to conclude with the an item on leasing is that we've seen a slight increase in lease units, but again, it's still up near the limit. We will have a United Mutual Finance Committee meeting May 26th at 1:30, and that will be virtual. Thank you.
Thank you. Architectural control, Reza, would you give a report?
Yes.
May I ask a quick question about moisture intrusion and contingency fund?
Go ahead.
Carl, you're on the MNC side, so moisture intrusion is in your area, I assume. Did you authorize the more to contingency fund?
Moisture intrusion right now is budgeted for whatever, okay? And once you run out of that money, okay, then the only place to get it is at a contingency.
Sorry, I didn't hear you on that.
We've had more moisture intrusion this year. We have a list of the moisture intrusion events by area, meaning whether or not it was rain or it was basically a a situation whereby we had a plumbing leak or what have you, okay? And many of the items this year seem to be in the rain events because we had all that much rain.
So my question is it the standard policy if that any operating fund is short, then we charge the contingency fund automatically? Should that be the purpose of a contingency fund?
That's what contingency normally is. It's the known unknowns.
Well, it's a plan.
If you run out of budget that you have allocated for that particular thing, you either have to add some additional budget from some other place, and the only other place that you've got it officially is in the contingency fund.
And that is why our $8 million contingency fund is dropped down to under $1 million. We need to have a way.
That's enough a discussion to be held at the finance meeting on next May 26th, okay?
So may I comment on that?
Sure. Go ahead, Manny.
Andre, I pointed you out to the business book, the annual budget business book. In there, it tells you real clearly that the contingency fund was comprised originally of two operating funds that they no longer use for that purpose. And it stated very clearly what Carl just said, that it was available to use for any expenditures that hadn't been budgeted or planned for. In addition to that, you know very well the reason why it's so low is because we spent $3.9 million on a solar project. So you're trying to beat a dead horse, okay? Please, drop it. Thank you.
Okay, Ray, so would you go ahead with your report on the architectural control, please?
Yes, in this particular meeting, 1 Unit 326D room addition was approved. It was proposed to have train somebody as a hygienist. This has been for next meeting to be voted on. We discussed ways to implement new standards. This is still pending. We'll discuss it next meeting. We also discussed about checking dry rods and adding it to to the sale inspection to avoid the problem we've had before, so that we don't have to go through the same type of issues again.
Thank you. There is no meeting scheduled as yet for the architectural group. Juanita, is there any meeting for the communications committee?
No, there isn't. There was a May 1st deadline for the next breeze. We really have not been doing anything. As I understand it, we will have a report on the resolutions that were passed at this meeting, and we have a few in reserve on general subjects that we had talked about or submitted before that there wasn't room for. That's all I know. That's all I've heard from Eileen about next breeze.
Thank you. Anthony, anything on the members' hearings?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, there's nothing on members' hearings, but I'd like to confer with staff on that because I want to make sure that we're in with the David Sterling Act when people want to have a meeting or complain or, I got to find out where we stand on that. But there is no meeting scheduled, but I'd like to confer with staff to see where we're at with David Sterling. That's the extent of my report, Madam Chair.
Okay. Do you want to, Siobhan,
Yes.
Is there any, do we have any situations that we need to take care of?
We are planning to have.
Or do you know of any?
We are planning to have hearings in next month, both the compliance hearings and traffic hearings, virtually next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Governing docs, Andre.
Yes, one decision we made was to link the California Civil Code web link on our website. The committee discussed California Civil Code web link. The committee member commented and asked questions. Without objection, the committee directed staff to add the California Civil Code web link on the Laguna Woods Village website. It doesn't take any effort at all. It's just a link to the government site. And there's a lot of references in regard to civil code. So everybody needs to have a quick reference of the civil code link. Next one is we reviewed and discussed membership, election, and voting policy. And Juanita did a fantastic job explaining things to us. Thank you. We also reviewed the guide of operating rules. This is another convenience for the residents, so they can quickly identify which rules that they want to reference to. And we reviewed and asked questions, talk about it. Now we have decided this, since this doesn't is not a restriction or any rules to the residents, we decide to is to just primary execution side for the convenience of the resident. So we will task the staff to add this guide to operating rules to the website. And because the board has initiated this task, but the board is primarily doing a prototype, and seems like it's a convenient tool for the resident. So the staff will take over and work on that. It may not be exactly what we do, but the concept will be the same. And next thing is appeal policy. We've seen that. We talked about it today. So that will be it. That's the conclusion of the governing document. There's another one. The governing document is tasked to review the management agreement review process. And we have several members sticking with us daily. We talk about issues. We have argument. We have discussions. We have agreements. And every one of us is now expert in that agreement. So I thank you for your participation. And we will talk about accountability, compensation accountability. That will be a big issue, and I hope everybody will join us and discuss the issue. The agreement seems to have a lot of tasks. Say you should do this one, you should do that one, but there's no statement that says if you don't do this one, what will happen? You know, what kind of penalty will be implemented. Right now, it's just if they don't meet the deadline, so we just charge the contingency fund. Okay, so that is the problem that we're talking about at this point. Thank you very much.
Next meeting? Next meeting is May 21st at 1:30. And it will be a virtual meeting.
Yes.
Okay, Manuel, landscape?
Yes, our last meeting was February 13th, which I reported on before the last two meetings. Our next meeting is scheduled for June the 11th. Hopefully we'll have that, and hopefully it might be in the boardroom. I'm looking forward to that because I'm sure some issues have accumulated. And I know Kurt is working on some preliminary numbers for next year's budget, including perhaps going to using grass catchers with a lawn mowing. That's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Carl, MNC?
Yeah. So the last time the United MNC Committee met was February 26th. I provided a report of that meeting at the board meeting on March 10th. Our next meeting was scheduled for April 22nd. However, due to a lack of topics to discuss and due to the pandemic, it was canceled. This Friday, however, May 15th at 1 p.m., we have scheduled a virtual MNC meeting to address issues concerning the pandemic and how it will affect the work that we will be doing this year. We are going to broach this topic and cover other MNC issues. Residents may be able to observe this meeting via Granicus. The link for the meeting was presented at the weekly email newsletter that was emailed to all that are on our email listing. That newsletter was issued on May 1st. However, Shaban, I did question the fact that it's not on that website yet, and I just went to that website, and it's still not there.
Director Munoz is getting it posted.
The Granicus website, so that people can actually view it. So, anyway, that's where we stand.
Okay, thank you. The advisory committee, Netta. Turn your mic on. Turn your mic on.
Sorry. United Resident Advisory Committee is honored to serve the members' concerns. The last meeting we met on March 12, 2020, and the next meeting is to be announced. And, we just put my email on the website, and my email is m.ardani@yahoo.com. I had a few emails during these months, and I try to work on it. And if our residents have any problem, I'm here to help. Take care. Thank you.
Please feel free to email her if you have a problem. Okay. Cash, I believe we're done with the handyman program. Am I correct or not?
Yes.
No, that's not true. We still are. I'm looking at when we come back to see if we can go it one step further for phase 3, like our microwave ovens and some of the washer and dryers. Our crew is not familiar with can be served that way. And it's yet to come. Basically, on handyman, we do have the word to the company that they're delivering food, but not to enter and take all the precautions, not to enter the properties. So there's no activity in phase 1 right now.
No activity for phase 1 or phase 2 until we get to them.
Yeah.
Okay, we're moving on to the GRF highlights. Brian, the Finance Committee.
May I ask a question about the handyman's project? Do we have any measurement as far as how successful the handyman is?
Well, because
every report I have done earlier before the virus was everybody was very satisfied with the service, and there's no activity.
So you don't have any KPIs at this point, just everybody satisfied.
Right now we don't. But
can we have some in the future?
It had worked fine earlier.
How many people signed up? How many efforts?
No work is being done right now, so there's no way to get a KPI. Let's move on to Finance, Brian. Brian, are you there? Okay. Juanita, would you do this?
No, I'm here.
Okay, we go.
We had a GRF finance meeting April 22nd. Next meeting will be June 24th, 1:30, but the location will be TDBA if we're restricted from COVID. Thank you.
Thank you. Juanita, go ahead on CAC.
CAC met virtually on April the 9th, and some of the things that were passed and sent on to the GRF board concerned things like the backstroke flags, which was passed at this last GRF meeting, mandatory security presence at specific resident events that went forward to the board. And the big thing was the special accommodation for the men's 18-hole golf club charitable event for the foundation. And that again went forward to the board where it was passed last week. They gave us the results of the club president surveys, which is a little out of date now because I understand a lot of the clubs are having particularly financial difficulties because of the shutdown. Some of them have closed, and other ones have had to cancel trips and events and all of this which has severely impacted their financial status. So we'll see more coming up after that. We have another virtual meeting scheduled on May 14th.
Okay, Manuel, landscape. DRF landscape.
Thank you, Sue. Our last meeting was February 12th, and we're not sure when our next meeting will be. We only meet quarterly, every 3 months. So we're due to come up with a meeting probably next month or the month after. The only thing I have to comment on is that people are getting to enjoy Aliso Creek Park a lot these days. You will see them frequently going out there in early afternoon and walk in the area, keeping their social distancing, of course. And everybody I see is wearing masks, which is a good sign. So I think BMS has helped a lot in broadcasting. Good practices to follow right now. So I want to thank Siobhan and Jeff for all their input and help. Thank you.
Okay. Carl, MNC.
So with regard to the GRF MNC committee, a closed meeting of the GRF MNC committee was held virtually on April 8th. I reported on that at the last board meeting. The next GRF MNC meeting is scheduled for June 10th at 9:30 a.m. The location and type of meeting is still to be determined depending on the pandemic. However, what's not listed here, Sue, is the PAC.
Yeah, I have it on mine. Go ahead.
Okay, the Performing Arts Center Ad Hoc Committee met on April 13th. I reported on that at the last meeting. We will be conducting a follow-up virtual PAC Ad Hoc Committee meeting on May 14th. However, it is a closed meeting since contract information will be discussed. And that's basically all we have right now. The information that we have on the PAC is that it's still being reviewed as far as the pricing and the information that we got from bidders.
Thank you. Juanita, Media and Communication.
Media Communications met virtually on April 20th. Our next meeting is May 18th. I'm not going to go through all of the statistics. We always have wonderful reports of statistics from Eileen on what's been done through Media and Communications. The main thing I would like to emphasize that came out at that meeting, well, there's two things. First of all, the launch of our new website, Laguna Woods Village Alerts.com, which people can go on at any time and get the most up-to-date information about what's going on in the village and in the surrounding areas concerning the quarantine. The other thing is that they have revamped this day. It's on at 9 a.m. in the morning and then repeated at 12 and 5. It's only half an hour. We lost Ken. I guess he's on furlough. It's all Lisa. But Jeff is on there usually 3 times a week and gives us the most up-to-date information that he has about what's going on. So I encourage everybody to tune in to Channel 6 at 9 a.m. for this day. Thank you.
Thank you. Elsie, go ahead.
May I ask, this Friday's this day's show, or is it canceled for United?
United will be on Friday. I will be on. I will do a Zoom.
Okay, I was told it's canceled the last time. Okay, fine.
Elsie, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Mobility and Vehicles Committee met on February the 5th, and that's been reported on in the distant past. And the next meeting will be on June 3rd, 2020 at 1:30 p.m., and the location is to be announced. Thank you.
Okay, Netta.
The Security and Community Access Committee met on February 24th, 2020. Next meeting will be on June 22nd, 1:30 p.m. Location to be announced.
Okay, traffic hearings have not been occurring, right? Elsie?
That's right, but that sounded like some potential good news from Shaban. Well, maybe not good news for offenders, good news for me. The traffic hearings may be restarting. Shaban?
That is correct. The
I saw
plan
her
is.
nod. That's good.
Okay. Anthony, you had a comment at one point, but you went away.
Yeah, no, it was just, it's okay. It was answered. Thank you.
Okay. And we're on the last one here. Well, no, we've got one more. Disaster preparedness, Cash?
There has been no activity per se other than mass distribution. And to that point, I think, Andre, I want to thank you for bringing the 5,000 masks. And maybe I can talk to Carlos and see if we can, and Shaban, and see if we can get a program going. That's all I have to report. There's no meeting scheduled as far as I know.
Okay, I attended a strategic planning committee for GRF, and we will be going, it was a starting meeting, and we have not really looked at what we want to really do with it. We are still trying to poise as to what that committee should be looking at. We will be meeting on May, at the end of May, I think it's 27th we're waiting to get the finances, and it will give us a peek as to what's occurring. I'm not sure that we will get a good enough look to figure out what to do for the rest of the year on the finances, but we will be meeting then to look at the finances, and we're still trying to shape what that committee is going to be in the future. Okay, Andre, what you'd like to speak?
Yes, I want to know, you just talked about a GRF strategic planning meeting. Okay, is United planning to have our own strategic planning meeting to talk about which direction we want to go and give directives or visions according to the management agreement? Maybe we need to have our own.
Okay, we'll discuss that in the closed meeting. We may have time enough to discuss that in the closed meeting and see if we want to form a committee.
Thank you.
Thank you. There are the future agendas. When will our mosquitoes come, Siobhan?
I'm sorry.
Mosquito vector people.
They were waiting to see when we would like them to come. They can come virtually, or they can wait until we have live meetings, so it's up to the board.
Well, I think they better come soon because the mosquitoes will be coming.
Okay, I'll try to schedule for next month, ma'am.
Thank you. All right. We will go for director's comments. Cash, you're first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Basically, I want to thank both Shaban and Jeff for doing such an excellent job, and maybe we can leverage this into getting more sales. I would also like to see if we can look into putting HEPA type filters in buildings. HEPA filters destroy even flu viruses. So I'm assuming that they will destroy this bigger diameter molecule of coronavirus. So maybe we should look into that. These are portable ones are available, and they're not very expensive. And putting into the air conditioning system may be expensive, but maybe we should look into that. Something else I would like to say is, whenever we try to recommend staff to come and do some things or investigate or make a report, just for the sake of getting a trend or whatever, doesn't make sense. It's obvious putting 6,500 gates and garages is going to be expensive. So there's no reason to even look that direction. Excellent meeting. I did have a joke, but I'm going to save it till the last when we meet the next meeting, the closed meeting. It's very nice joke.
All right. Thank you. Next time, would you turn your camera on because they try to show your face?
The reason I didn't, because I got a message saying the system slows down when your camera is on. That's when I had my camera off.
Okay. Elsie's next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to echo Cash's compliments to Jeff and Siobhan and the entire VMS staff. I'm just amazed at how well you've been functioning with all this turmoil, and I know it's a lot of extra hours, so thank you. In addition, also echoing something that Cash said, we keep talking about more sales and more, we need to sell and we need to sell. Well, short of people moving or dying more quickly, I'm not really sure that that's a possibility, but there is an inventory of vacant properties listed on, we have several people on the board that belong to that realtors group. I forget the name of the governing board of realtors, but they have monthly lists of vacant properties, which is in essence our inventory here in the village, and we don't belong to that. But is there some way that somebody on the board even could get, on a monthly basis, like how much of our inventory is it really not turning over fast? Because that's really the issue. If we have inventory sitting for years vacant, it's one thing, but if we don't, it's a completely different issue. So I just wish people would maybe think about that, our realtors on the board, and maybe get us that information and a little report once a month. That would be, or better yet, to get it to Pamela if that's legal, and then her group could generate a report to go along with the resales. And that's all I have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Netta?
I want to thank to our residents for following the rules with, stay at home, using the face mask and the social distancing, and then for the entire VMS for a good job that they did. Thank you.
Manuel?
Thank you, Sue, Madam Chair. I've got a comment here that's part of it is for Carl, and then the other part of this is for either Jeff or Siobhan. I know the last time that they had a meeting on the bids for the Performing Arts Center, they were way over budget. And I know this meeting is coming up. I know it's going to be pretty important to have access to that information. So that's pointed at Carl, how we can get that. The other one is that because of the coronavirus, if we don't have acceptable bids, then the question is going to come up, how about using the Performing Arts Center until we're able to do a remodel again? And the reason I was reminded about that is because I have tickets here to a Neil Diamond tribute that's been postponed, but he's agreed to come back and do it like in June, July when the Performing Arts Center is available again. So I think it would be good at the next meeting to have Jeff address whatever's happening with the Performing Arts Center in view of all this. Okay? That's my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Reza?
Yes, I have a comment. This is regarding meeting notes. I like to ask our VMS secretary to make sure that meeting notes are recorded and they are checked before issuing it, and they are complete and accurate, and especially the action items are listed. Recently, we've had 2 meeting notes we were missing it. So I hope this will not go on. Thank you.
Brian?
No comment.
Anthony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just 2 things. I'm really on to this testing thing here. We don't know where we stand until we get testing. So I have reached out to one of our California congressional delegation for some advice and some help along that. And also this mosquito thing, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. This Aedes mosquito is supposed to be a nasty customer, and we might be behind the 8 ball on this already. I hear it was in Huntington Beach, and they haven't found it here yet, but it's something I hope this Orange County vector gets on this thing before it starts killing people. It's supposed to be a really nasty mosquito. That's my only concern, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Carl?
So I'd like to talk just for a minute about those garage door things, okay, since it keeps on being brought up. Every carport has got basically columns in it, no walls. So if you put a garage door in there, you would have to put walls up in between each of the spaces. And then you'd have to make sure that the carport can actually address itself to the loads of the actual garage door itself. Okay, some of these carports are basically just some columns and some sheet metal on the top and the roof. Okay, others are located someplace else. So putting up garage doors is not just putting up a garage door. It means a whole bunch of engineering, and then it means putting up walls in between each of the spaces. So, I mean, we're not talking about just throwing up a garage door. I just want to make sure that everybody understands that. The second thing is with regard to the PAC, yes, we're going to have this meeting on the 14th, and we have that information that we were given the last time. It is in the PAC ad hoc committee. I'm sure that if you specifically ask Jeff or Siobhan or either Judith Troutman, who's the committee chairman, she possibly can share some of that information with you, Manny. But at this particular point in time, we're going to be discussing where we're going to go with that because, as you indicated, the bids came in a little bit higher than what we anticipated, and a lot of people do not feel that we want to be spending that kind of money. But it is something to be addressed, and we're addressing that on the 14th because, as far as I'm concerned, if they're going to continue to say that that's the kind of money we're going to spend, then I'm going to be voting against a full-blown modification to the building. We may do it in stages then. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. God bless you, Juanita. You're up.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to say I'm having problems the same as I've had on almost every go-to-meeting. My chat freezes. I don't know whether it's too much in it or whatever, but it's absolutely frozen. I can do nothing in my chat box. I can't even get rid of it. So I thank you for calling on me. I have two issues I'd like to bring up. First of all, I really would like to direct staff to see what it would take to change a little bit in the boardroom so that we could start to have board meetings. I'm sure there's a way that we could separate people out, put up some extra tables in front or whatever. The big thing is, of course, the technology. Nothing is impossible for Chuck. So that way we get everybody filmed, everybody on, that kind of thing. And I really would like to get away from these virtual meetings. Ours has gone, I thought, quite well today. GRS last week was a disaster. So I think the sooner we can get back into having the boardroom, the better it will be. Secondly, I also would like to speak on the sales. We are not real estate agents. We shouldn't care if they sell or not. We get our assessments anyway. There are those out there. It is a living for many people, but that's not our concern as a board. We don't need to have sales, but we are. There's 4 packages up there. I'm going up after this meeting to sell today. And we have anywhere from 4 or 5 to 7 or 8 every week. So things are still selling, things are still subleasing, and it's going forward. But that should not be our main concern. We are not real estate agents. Thank you.
Thank you. Andre?
Yes, I have several things to talk about. Since I got the $1,200 from Uncle Sam, I'm using that, but to buy face masks to distribute to the village, our community residents. But that's hopefully I don't have that much. Okay, it's $60 a piece, so I can only have probably 2,000 of them. What I'm going to do is and I give 3 each. to the needy people. So I'm asking that if you have, let's say, 15, 20 already at home, 50 of them are already at home, please don't just thank me and walk away. And if you just don't have them, and if you have a one or two at home, I really want to give it to you, and it's 3 each person. So if you have a 2-person unit, I will give you 6. Okay. I will give out 500 masks every month. So if you run out of those 3 masks, you will get another 3 new masks. That's one thing that I'm doing right now. This will be distributed because I'm a United Board member. I will distribute this only to the United Mutual Territory. But if there's any third people coming up, I won't reject you. All right? And also, I just got confirmation last night that I will receive 6,000 face masks, donated 5 each for 1,200 needies. And this is the same thing for the village, for the needies, and will be distributed. However, this is beyond my capability I'm currently doing. What I'm currently doing is I'm distributing along the creek, which I got a lot of response, and I'm distributing it along the Aragon and the Serpentine Walk, which is a very good place for the people to walk around. And I'm also giving away them along the East Mariposa. I'm putting out sign there. People look at it. Sometimes people really don't understand what it is. They just drive by. So if you need a face mask and you need that, if you see me standing on the road, on the sidewalk, if you need it, feel free to stop and ask for help. Okay, as far as the 6,000 face masks, it's beyond my capability at this point. So I may need to make some logistic arrangement and make sure that I don't want to, I went through the line going through to get 1 face mask. So if I know that if I give you 3 face masks away, it will be a riot. It will go way beyond the gate 1. So I need to figure out how to do that at this point. I may need the help from EMS to do something, I'm not sure how to prevent everybody lined up there, 18,000 people there. Okay. So that will be a little bit a week or so later that we will work on that. And also as far as a carport door, I understand the car's concern there. What I'm saying is, I understand there's a lot of difficulties. Truly, I understand that. But what we're talking about is if we can get a cost analysis, maybe it takes $3,000, $5,000 for each carport seat to get one. If we spread it around 10 years, and that will be $400 a year, $500 a year, and if we spread around the 12 months, it may be $40 a month. See if the residents is willing to accept that. If they are willing to accept that increase of the per month assessment, let's do it. We don't have to make decisions for them. They make decisions themselves. That which is my suggestion that give them a cost analysis, let them say yay or nay. Thank you very much, and I look forward to see everybody on the street. And the 6,000 face masks I will distribute to not just United, but also to Third and the Tower. So I will put out the words later. Thank you very much.
Okay, I've given my president's thing. Elsie, you've been typing in. I'm not quite sure what you're saying, but this meeting is recessed. We will come back to a meeting do you want to come back at 12 or do you want to come back at 1? It's
12. Let's get this over with.
Let's do it at 12.
Okay, everybody, we're going to be back at 12 and we'll try to get done early. Thank you.